So this is unheard of, I only applied to 5 programs. That is unheard of. Usually apply to 15 programs and you go interviewing around the country and you have to meet and schmooze and it's brutal. And I did 5 programs. I did them near home. We knew we wanted to be in a frum community, and I interviewed at one program in New York, that actually had a Shomer Shabbos slot. And the program in New York I hated, and they offered me the position that day. So when I interviewed there, they said, if you agree to take our Shomer Shabbos slot, we'll give it to you right now. But if you leave this room, if you go through the regular match process, we will not guarantee that you're going to get Shomer Shabbos. I'm not a New Yorker. I didn't want to be there anyway. I wasn't willing to do it. So I said, no, thank you. So that already eliminated one program. I was down to 4. And I went through the regular match. And I ended up in a program near the Torsky community, which is what my first choice was, that it was very interesting. All the programs that had Jewish directors refused to give me Shomer Shabbos. That's how it was. It was a Jewish director. I already could tell. I would call ahead. That's why I only ended up interviewing at 5, because I would call ahead and ask, and if it's a Jewish last name, no way, they won't guarantee it. But this program in Milwaukee, the director wasn't Jewish. He was fascinated by Shabbos, never heard of it, looked it up, and when I met with him in his office, he had like a stack, like, I don't know, like this big, and he had like read up on Shabbos and was fascinated. And anyway, that fascination didn't last long. So when the other residents started complaining, how come they're on call, call is a 24-hour shift, how come they do 24-hour shifts and they have to do it on the weekends and I get every weekend off? To them, they want the weekend off, and so it wasn't, Baruch Hashem, I really had to go out of my way to be over the top Kiddush Hashem, over the top friendly, over the top wanting to make up for it in any way I can. I worked most Sundays, and anytime I could take someone's shift, I would try. But at the same time, there was Yontiv, and there is taking care of my family. And Baruch Hashem, I had a baby right after medical school, so in the beginning of residency, and then now Baruch Hashem, I have 3 15-month-old babies, so I have triplets. So I was pregnant with them at the end of my residency, and they got sick of me very quickly. They really, because that meant a lot of time away. And I don't know that this specific program now, I'm on a Shomer Shabbos residency list where people email me questions, and I don't know that they would agree to it again. And I think for most people now who are seeking a Shomer Shabbos program, they're on the east side. Unless you get lucky like me and you have a director that happens to be interested, but as you can tell by my story so far, it's not so clear cut, and it could be that you go through 4 years of university and 4 years of medical school and not get into a residency. So 2 of my friends who are from, and Baruch Hashem, one is in residency and one just completed a residency. They did not match in a Shomer Shabbos program, and then there's something called a scramble. So they went through all this pain and anguish and tons of debt, and they really did want to match. I was willing to let it go, but they really, really wanted to. And all the stress and the pain, and I remember them calling me and trying to get me names and numbers of other directors, and they were able to match in what's called a scramble. But what that means is they ended up in a city they didn't want to be with, transported the whole family, and one of them had to wait a year and rematch, but they both did it. So you see, you put in hishtadlus, and Hashem often will guide you where you want to go. Not always. Sometimes Hashem guides you where you don't want to go, right? But I think that I just want you all to be aware that going my path is massive hishtadlus. It takes massive hishtadlus, and I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't let my daughters do this, because not only is it a lot of time away from your family, which is not recommended for a good frum family, right? But it's also the culture of medicine is, believe it or not, it's crass, it's masculine, and it's not, I remember one time I was on a surgery rotation, and I was telling, this was just when I was McCarved, and I was talking to this one family that McCarved me. You probably know the Maslins. We were really close, and I remember I was sitting with them, and I came back, and I was so upset. I said, my resident thinks he's figured out the world. He told me, Dr. Handler, let me tell you 3 things. 3 things. 1, don't trust anybody, ever. 2, don't trust, what was it? Don't trust science or something. And 3, don't trust yourself. And I remember coming back and being like, they're dumb people. You know? But it's hard to be around people who are so self-righteous, and a lot of them have a God syndrome, right? And then to be a frum girl who knows what's emes, and to be kind of navigating your way, and trying to be a Kiddush Hashem. And so there were a lot of tears and a lot of hardship. But now, looking back, I would not recommend any of you do this. But I have to say, I love my job. So was it worth it? I don't know. But now I work for myself and no one else. You know, I set up basically my own virtual clinic. So right when I leave here, I'm going to from family just a couple blocks away, and I'm doing consultations all afternoon for her, the mother and her kids. And I get to go into people's homes, and I get to sit down with them, and I get to do one-on-one. I get to open up their cabinets and look at what they're eating. I get to say, nope, 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 nope. And I get to tell them about what a good grocery list means. I get to guide them in good health and see results, which is, I think, a lot of doctors often don't see results. But I think when you have that one-on-one and you get to take the amount of time you want, it's so now I love what I do. But in residency, when I had to be on a strict 10 minutes per patient, this is a business, 10 minutes per patient protocol, and I would spend half an hour to 45 minutes because I can't do that. That's why I'm actually late. I was late today. Then I really struggled, and I never felt like I could really address people's problems, and I never felt like I got to the root of anything. So now I'm a Mamash created the clinic I want, the ideal medicine I want. I get to really meet people face to face, and I'm doing international consultations, so people can Skype in with me if they want from Israel. And I'm Bezat Hashem making Aliyah next week, so I hope to keep my practice going here. So hopefully people will still Skype with me and make consultations that way. And it's lovely to be able to give in that way and feel like I have what to give and to see a difference, and it's rewarding. And I get to be creative, and I'm writing a cookbook, you know, so now I love what I do. But the reason I'm here today is to tell you that you can actually get to where I'm at without all the blood, sweat, and tears, because really I feel, this is my opinion, where people are struggling these days, and I see, because now I just, my last day in the Tversky community was yesterday, and I left with a lot of tears and a lot of goodbyes, and a lot of people who had come to me as patients and as friends not feeling well, and seeing a lot of people kind of rise to the occasion and start to take care of themselves, and it takes a lot of education. What my assessment is that especially in the frum community, there's just not enough education about how to eat right, what supplements to take, exercise, how to take care of your kids in a physically, there's a lot of Baruch Hashem spiritual hadracha. I think there needs to be more of it. Physical hadracha. That's my opinion. So if all of you are interested and passionate in taking on a career where you can help guide people in good health, there are so many avenues, and there are a lot of frum people here who I can also recommend, who are nutritionists, PAs, nurses. There's ways, actually, there's 2 frum nurse practitioners in Milwaukee. They're men, but still they did a nursing degree, and they got their PhD in nursing, so they're an NP, and they're able to prescribe and still have all the rights of a doctor without going through all the challenges of medical school and residency, and they have a lot of the same kind of freedom. Nursing school is more gentle on your soul and on your pocketbook and on your time. So, and now one of them is an acupuncturist, actually both are acupuncturists, and they combine it, and they do some Chinese medicine and herbology, and then I know someone who's just went into being a nutritionist, and she gets to also meet people in their homes and guide them to good health in that way. So I think there are more creative avenues and better ones than mine to get the same kind of reward. What do you all think? You have questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So what kind of doctor are you? Like
Family practice.
Okay. And you like specifically went into nutrition? Is that what it was? I kind of
No, you missed the first part. So I actually didn't want to go into medical school at all because I thought it was all sheker because they don't teach nutrition at all. Do you know that? I don't know if you all know that. They don't teach nutrition in medical school. Your doctor does not know anything about nutrition, nothing. So the basic building blocks of what makes you healthy is not taught, and most doctors don't know. So actually the doctors in Milwaukee that a lot of people see who are very conventional, when patients ask them about diet and supplements, they send them to me. I'm like the add-on, you know, but I believe that's where it starts. So the way I got there is through my own navigation, and I had to do I went to my own conferences and did my own research and started doing my own homework, and I supplemented my education. And actually the residency that I chose in Milwaukee happened to be one that focused on integrative medicine. So all the residents in this family practice program, it's really unheard of, and a lot of them did it, you know, totally against they would not have chosen it themselves. It was against their will in a way. But as part of the program, we had to complete 200 hours of integrative medicine, which meant really nutrition and supplement education and drug interaction and stuff like that. But it's not taught in medical school.
When you say residency, I don't know, I missed it, but what do you mean by that?
Oh, so first you do 4 years of medical school. This is the standard path. You do 4 years so first you do normally 4 years of pre-med. This is the normal path. I didn't do the normal path because I didn't do my pre-med in university. But most doctors do 4 years of pre-med in university, and you major in pre-medical sciences. And then when you graduate from university, then you apply to medical school, and you do 4 years of medical school. And then at the end of 4 years of medical school is where you specialize and you choose what you want to do. And that's where you match in a residency. A residency is an internship. It's where you're actually in a hospital working, except you're really slave labor because the government pays for residents, and for the hospitals it's a real boon because they get physicians who are fresh and tireless and so they can really work them. So it's the residents that run hospitals a lot of times at night, and we take call, you know, all the on-call pages and phone calls for the doctors while they sleep, you know, and it's an exhausting experience, but that's what residency is. It's 3 years of unbelievable exhaustion. Unbelievable. It is it's called a Q4 call, meaning every fourth night you do a 24-hour shift in the hospital. And sometimes you sleep, there's a call room where you sleep, and sometimes you really don't. So, and especially for a family doc,